To 40 plus first time mom. So this week I'm going to do an encouragement. I think it's important on this journey that you are encouraged in what you're doing and you have like some practical support and practical scenarios to kind of keep strong in the process because the culture, society is not celebrating per se our journey, right? So, since that's the case, I believe we need a sense of joy and sunshine, peace, foundational things, practical things to help us. And with the encouragement, it's more so holding on to your beliefs, your faiths, your practices, and participation in the journey. So for me, I know for years, even I'll just start from the beginning. I never wanted to have children young. I wasn't that one that was like, oh, I can't wait to have children. That just wasn't me. I know I didn't want to have children young, and I knew I didn't want to have children until I was married. And those are my personal beliefs. That was my foundation, and that's what I strive for. Therefore, the activity in my life was aligned with not producing children before getting married, right? Okay. So, which is a whole nother scenario that I can talk about at another time when it comes to relationships because that's major. And I'll talk about a little bit on or maybe a lot about spousal support and how important it is to have a supportive spouse that advocates for you, that enters into the journey, that partners with you in order to grow. So that's another topic that'll be in another episode. But today, as far as encouragement, I remember this movie. Now, I am not a movie buff at all, but there are certain movies that I like action, espionage, things that keep you on the edge and you really don't know what's happening. And one of them I remember watching, and the very end, toward the very end, the girl who was in a pickle and her father came through for her and was like, you came for me. The father's response had me in tears, y'all. Let me tell you, I am not by any means a crybaby, baby. However, there are moments and pivotal moments in movies where I reflect on my relationship with Father God, okay? And this was one of those situations. So her father said, I told you I would. It was just like, that did something for me. And I immediately, after seeing that, here come tears coming out of my eyes. I'm watching an action movie. I'm gonna tell you a movie in a minute. Tears are coming out of my eyes, and I begin to pray and thank God for being my father and thank him for his I told you I would. Thank him for his words for me. Thank him that he has given me a foundation in which to hope. Because when I reflect, I remember many times in my life praying for my family. I remember many times in my life praying for the man that would see me for me and to have a beautiful relationship and to have children. And I remember praying many years ago for them, not knowing who my spouse would be, but praying for this person that I knew God had set aside for me or made available for me. Because I am of the mindset, the way that we speak is important. I am not the one to say all men are dogs. That is a lie. Because if that's the case, that means that's what I'm going to attract. I can't be out here saying that. And then on top of that, if I am a wholesome woman, if I am a sound woman, there has to be a sound man out there, right? You understand what I'm saying? So it was just a lot to that. And so I remember even with my faith being in ministries and hearing people allow God to use them and speak into my life and say, I see you. Um, there, God has someone for you, and different things like that. And then as I aged, because a lot of people look at age, they're like, if you're not married by 30, girl, what's wrong with you? Okay, whatever. Say whatever you want. That's just the culture thing, right? And so, fast forward to we were 36. I was weeks before turning 37 when I got married. And so, going in that on that journey and knowing that I'm like, God, I believe you're going to show up. Like, this is what I believe. That's what I hold on to. And even visions and dreams and things of that nature that I would get and plans for the future. And I'm like, in order for this to come to pass, if I see a child in my future, there has to be a husband before that. Okay. So there's a sequence of things happening here. And so that it just gave me hope and excitement. And I'm like, God, you are a God that is faithful when you make promises and you keep them. You are faithful. And it reminds me of the scripture that says, I count you faithful who made the promise, right? And so these are just the foundational things. And God has come through for me in so many other areas of my life. I expect the same right now. And so with that being said, on my journey, even in the valleys of the journey, the losses, the disappointments in the journey, I'm like, God, you made a promise. You're accurate. You're true. You're faithful. I can count on you. So we're going to continue forward with what you're saying and not what society is saying. And when I say that, I went to previous doctors, and as soon as they found out I was 40 at the time, they were saying, well, your chances and this, and they gave me all these stats. I was like, up, fired. And I kept on saying fired until I found the perfect midwife. You hear me? So my belief in God and Him telling me and making promises to me made me continue forward. I didn't go by what man said because man is creation. I was listening to the Creator. There's a difference. So the Creator trumps creation in stats in the culture, right? And that just gave me the drive and oomph that I needed, the encouragement to keep on going, along with having supportive people around me, having friends I'm talking to, having those conversations that were helpful and full of hope and belief, and people who had the same faith as I did, and also being aligned in our marriage. My husband, we both, were ready to have children. We were both ready to enter this journey, and we encouraged each other, supported each other. We went through things together, on our journey. So after firing those people and finding the midwife, within that year, we were pregnant, and it was so exciting because they were literally in the midst. I had another appointment, and they sent me to a specialist. Like, well, we're going to look into alternative things and want to schedule an appointment. And so by the time the lady called me for an appointment to check and see, do some more testing or whatever they wanted to do, we were pregnant. It was just so exciting. And prior to that, in May, I had a dream about June and different things that would be happening, one including me teaching, one including, our family. And I told my husband, like, hey, it's some amazing stuff happening in June. And sure enough, Father's Day, I was able to show my husband the positive pregnancy test, two tests that I took. And that was his Father's Day gift, that we were going to welcome a honey cub. And that was just super exciting for him, for us. And when I told him, he was talking about, I knew it. So he's one thing I appreciate about him. He's very attentive to my life, and he actually saw my body changes. So he was like, I knew, because so he was perceiving from the changes in my body that, oh yeah, 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 yeah. Yep. We about to go on this journey. So that was exciting. And then going through the process and doing the gender reveal and baby showers, and it had just been a joy. So I say that to say I am 42 years young and vibrant and excited about life. And I held on to encouragement. I held on to promises and things of that nature. So, with that being said, this first episode of encouragement is to stay on your journey, know that God is with you, and also to know that there are steps to take in the journey. You have to hold on. Of course, there are times that I didn't feel like 100%. There were times I was frustrated. I was like, okay, enough is enough. Okay, I'm tired of waiting. We all get in those places as well. But I will say to you to continue forward. And I'm going to do another episode that's going to be participating in the process, participating in the progress, participating in the prophecy, whatever it is, it's going to be those P's that includes that participation in order to produce the promise. And I'm going to talk more about that because we have to know, just like our beliefs, to say faith without works is dead. We can't get a promise, a prophecy, or look for a progress, and we're not participating in that coming to pass. We don't get to just sit down. So I didn't just get to sit down. I had to work on my body. I didn't just get to sit down. I had to get rid of fibroids. I didn't just get to sit down. I had to drop some weight. I didn't just get to sit down. I had to balance these hormones. You hear me? So it was a process, and I'm going to be unfolding that process in this journey so you can learn some things about progesterone, fibroids, hormones, which I did last week, just just health and wellness, um, marriage, relationships. So we're going to talk about all that in this journey, but be encouraged right now to hold on to every promise that you've received, all the encouragement, and make sure you're participating in that journey. And I'll take a deep dive in it, like I mentioned later. So thank you for tuning in to this episode of 40 Plus First Time Mom. Be encouraged. Write your comments in and let me know other things you want me to talk about. Let me ask some questions, get some feedback, all those different things. Put that, because as this grows, I want to make sure that I am answering your questions and giving you the insight in what I did. So I'm not a medical professional. I'm an everyday girl that decided to say, hey, let's go away from the norm and the tradition and what the culture say I should be doing right now, over 40, when it comes to children, and what is my body naturally designed to do, and how can I support that? And so I want to support you on your journey, encourage you on your journey, and even give you resources, tools, and tips along the way. So if you want to take a deep dive in the resources and things like that, I have a community for women called WomanALIVE 2.0. You can sign up, and premium members get more videos and more content on this subject and get all the ins and outs and resources in order to be on your journey, whether it's the recipes I did, the regimens I did, things of that nature. You can get that in WomanALIVE 2.0 as a premium member. Also, I have a pregnancy journal. So if you're watching and you're pregnant already, and it's a week by week journal it gives you an opportunity to just pour out your heart on your journal. On your journey, and write out your dreams and fun nuggets and resources that's in that journal. I'll link all that stuff in the description, and other things I'll put in there. I'll be doing a snapback, the weight loss journey. So that's another thing that I have resources for that. If you want like waist trainers, body wraps, and things of that nature, I have that in my store. We have a clearance department, so we are clearing all that out, and it's first come, first serve. So that's there. So I even have a personal strategy, which is, so if you're in your life and you feel like you're all over the place and you just need some strategy to kind of align your life, I have resources there. So we are so intricate as women. We're multifaceted. And I believe in the whole person. And I'm not just talking to you as a mother, I'm talking to you as a woman, I'm talking to you as a career person, I'm talking to you as a business owner, in all the areas of your life, because when they're congruent and aligned, there's so much fulfillment, there's so much peace. And so that's what we are looking for: congruency, peace, and fulfillment. I'm so glad you're on this journey with me. Like I said, like, subscribe, comment, share, all the things you do.